whenever I did criminal defense, it was always kind of like, what can you do for me? What do you think I'm going to get here? Do you think you can get the charges dismissed? Or now it's, what's the case worth? Like that is
Yeah.
the number one question we get probably is, what do you think the case is worth? And I always tell them, I don't answer that question at this stage. If I answer that question, I'd be lying to you. I wonder what your advice would be to lawyers with what you were just talking about.
Yeah.
What's the best way, do you think, to, instead of answering that question, walking them through that process?
Yeah. That's a great question. And one of the things I teach my clients is we have to diagnose before we prescribe. And when someone comes in and they want rates and someone wants information and free consulting up front, we need to have a really solid method of how we don't reject them, but how we accept them and help guide them to when the more appropriate time to have that conversation would be. And I'll give you 2 or 3 examples of that. I call it agree and redirect. And it sounds something like this. That's a great question, Tyson. Everyone I talk to wants to know, what they're going to get or what the rates are, whatever the issue is that you're asking about. Unfortunately, you're on step 10 and I'm only on step 2 from a standpoint of really understanding what your needs are and what's going to help me answer that question. So if you're okay, if I can just ask you a few more questions, I promise you we'll get to your question about my rates at the end of the meeting. Would that be okay for you? And you get the person to nod and agree. So we're not dismissing them. We're saying that's a brilliant question. I get that all the time. This is when it's better to talk about it. And I've got one more good one I think you're going to love.
I love it.
Okay,
I can't wait to hear it. Yeah.
All right, here. This is a good one. So you asked me about what my rates are, and I've got all these different ideas about what they should be based on the case. And I would say something like, that is a fantastic question. I know we got to talk about budget and rates and all that. Unfortunately, right now, it's like asking me, what does a bag of groceries cost? I have no idea what's in the bag. So if you're all right with it, let's just take a few more minutes to allow me to ask a few more questions. And I promise you, we'll get to that, before we leave the meeting today. Is that something that would work for you? And I'm nodding and you're nodding. And we're taking back control of something. Because if I answer the questions and I tell you, that's a great question. I charge about $1 million an hour. What's that person going to be thinking about for the next, 20 minutes we're in the meeting? $1 million an hour, $1 million an hour. They're not going to be in the meeting with you. All they're going to be doing is thinking, how do I get out of here? I don't have $1 million an hour for this guy, right? So we need to have a good way of securing trust, not rejecting someone's idea, agreeing with them, and then redirecting them to what makes more sense.
Kind of whenever I'm thinking I'm in a mediation and it's not going well, I don't think we're to settle. I'm thinking like, okay, all right, every hour is $400 for this mediator. What's this bill gonna be? Yeah, because this for nothing. We're just spending money for zero reason here. I kind of get that feeling.